Alright, homies. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker one. I am beaten, dragged through the mud. Did good work, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Your body's just going to give up on you every now and then. You kind of just got to accept it, you know? Although, I'm just freshly new on day shift. The shifts are flying by. I'm feeling absolutely wonderful. It's kind of like when you switch your diet super quickly, you know? Like, if you go from eating super healthy to super junk food, you're going to feel like shit. But vice versa, not a lot of people think about it. If you're used to eating junk food, specifically in your metabolism, and then you switch hard onto switching healthy food out of nowhere, your body's still going to hurt. You know, the metabolism is not used to it, so it's going to take longer to digest and create that discomfort. Similarly, even though night shifts suck compared to a 9 to 5 during the day where I get to sleep full 8 hours, it's still a new schedule. I've been on night shift for 10 months, you know? I got to get realigned with the new shit that I have committed myself to. So no matter what I do or how hard I do it, I still got to take that little bit of time, at least at the beginning of getting used to it, at the new program of eating a little bit of shit, you know? However, still put in some really good work. Just to spoil you, every single lift today top setted at 295, which I just found kind of funny because, on these technique conditioning days, I don't plan a top set. I just go to whatever feels confident and comfortable with good technique. And clean and jerk went really, really well. Really, 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 really nice. I initially felt like shit. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but again, switching schedules with the increased fatigue is making me feel like I might have a cold, but I feel like I have cold symptoms, like a little bit of like foggy brain, the, congested sinus feeling, even though I physically am fine, So at the very least, I just wanted to get the good technique, not care about weight, do my thing, Yesterday, the first lift was a way out there random PR. Didn't expect anything like that today. However, despite what I believed, 275 went pretty decently on the clean and jerk accessory. I just did a slow tempo first pull to really isolate my shoulders and my low back, since that was what was getting grinded yesterday. And then a pause split jerk to really isolate the shoulder mobility and stability in the catch, because jumping straight into a split jerk without the pause makes it a little bit easier to rely on my front foot for balance, while also being able to kind of like shift my weight a little bit and having a bit more momentum versus just strict technique. So having to get under it at that perfect second so that I don't lean too far forward on my front foot, but also not push too far or not extend my back leg too much, made it to where I could really focus on what I wanted to hit today without any worry about weight, So 275 went great. And I was like, all right, at the very least, I know that that's not the top set I want, because a lot of times there's sets that you want versus sets that you need. And of course I want to go heavy all the time. I want to feel peaked all the time. That's not how it is. This initial block one volume conditioning technique week, whatever you want to call it, that's got the most volume, most lighter weight, even though I'm still going decently heavy because I feel good for it, does not mean that it's going to go well. In fact, I think that a normal initial week back in after doing such a heavy peak, especially with the time off I took, you're not going to feel great. You have to get used to the conditioning again. But that drive through the pain, that discipline and consistency to hit those good reps regardless of how worn out your low back and your joints and your technique and your CNS are, that's where the real effort comes through to where you can peak later on, You can't just start out the gate strong. You got to really take your time, get your shit together, and feel out every rep one at a time so that when the next block comes, you can at least go a little bit harder, You may not peak on said next block, but you can at least give yourself the opportunity to do the best that you can without feeling so fatigued. And that's just kind of what volume does to you. Even a set of 5 for me is abysmal. I hate sets of 5, but that's what primes my CNS the first week. So I put 295 on the bar for the clean and jerk, but as you're gonna see, did not go as planned. I got a really good clean, which was nice, but it was really, really close. So my pinky actually unlocked. It came off the bar when I got in my standing position. I just didn't have the core strength to realign everything. So I just decided to go for it. It wasn't a big deal. I landed with bent elbows. It's going to look like I had it, and I just dropped it out of nowhere. My elbows bent the moment I caught it, so I just decided not to push my luck and strain my low back or my elbows, especially with how hard I went yesterday. But still, a beautiful top set attempt for how dead I am. Otherwise, the front squat, again, like similar to the overhead squat yesterday, this first week, I can front squat near 405 pounds. Yet, I'm, struggling to do 295 today for a set of 5. That doesn't mean I'm just like randomly weak out of nowhere. It doesn't mean that I'm not projected to still hit 405 later on. You have to just kind of allow your CNS to catch back up to all the heavyweight you did last program while also picking up all this extra conditioning you're throwing on top out of nowhere. Your body's not going to know how to respond right away. So regardless, you lock in the technique, because at the very least, again, on a day where I feel this low energy, I came back and I did really, really decent at 295. I felt horrid. My core just was not there. It didn't feel as strong, but it's the best front squatting I've done on a day like this where I had no core left. Even the top 295 set of 5 set looked beautiful. It went great. But the thing is that if I go up to 315, that I know I can do, sure, I don't know if the technique's going to stay. And if the technique goes, my knee goes, my joints go, my CNS goes, everything domino effects after that. And it's not worth ruining me getting my conditioning and fatigue together for next block just to hit a heavyweight now. So we take our time and we do the weights that we're confident in. Similarly, got on the bench. I wanted to really focus on something that was a bit more difficult, so I would have to do a weight that I could really trust myself to do. It's just the top triple of whatever technique I wanted to focus on. I've been doing a lot of slow tempos, a lot of pauses, so I was like, let's bring back the half rep plus full rep, Doing 1 rep halfway to the sticking point specifically, getting right to the point where I know I would have hit it if I kept driving through, but then dropping back down and doing another full rep after. That really primes me for bench because my limiting factor is the sticking point since I do such a close grip for my anatomy. So every set felt pretty locked in. Like, again, I'm tired as shit, but the technique's great. The consistency, the ability to lock every body part into place to where I don't have to really worry about mentally locking everything in as hard as I absolutely need to. Everything was being able to drive the way I wanted to and no shoulder pain whatsoever. So at the very least, even though I died yesterday and gassed out completely, I could come back today as hard as I want to. That's a really, really great step to be able to have. So 275 pretty much blew out of the water, like, very confidently. And I was like, well, again, I got to at least do a top set that I'm confident in, yet satisfied with. It may not be the absolute best I could do, but I have it in me. Even if I just hit 2 reps out of the 3, I don't care. I got to put in that actual higher intensity in that top set, not just a comfortable, whatever, I hit the weights kind of top set. So 295 went. Really happy with it. Let me tell you, I haven't seen the video back, but it was a grind. And it's nice to be able to at least see that I still had that drive in me at the very end, regardless of how tired I was. Because here's the thing. You're not going to be able to predict how you're going to feel all the time. You're not going to be able to plan your fatigue for the most part, but you can at least try to work around it the best that you can. Pick and choose your battles on the hills that you want to die on. Yesterday, overhead squat and back squat were pretty lackluster. Honestly, really lackluster, but I still did the best I could because snatch was so imperative yesterday. I had the potential to PR. You've got to take advantage when it's there. So I did. Just like today, I took advantage on every lift that I felt great in, and I went one step at a time, better and better and better, and did wonderfully. So I can't be mad. I'm tired of shit. I feel like shit. It is what it is, but I get to sleep tonight. I get to hang out. I feel satisfied. I feel credible. That's all it is. One step after another. Same shit, different day. Highest passion that you can possibly muster no matter what. Because you may be running the same shit different day. You may just be pushing the same old weights. But the mentality must continue to grow. Because that's a choice. To give into the shit and have a shit workout. Or feel like shit, but refuse to give into the shit. Anyway, physically, again, not gonna lie to you, it wasn't great. I didn't feel peaked at all, but still locked it in. I still hit some heavy ass weights for the lightest week of the program. So I'll still give it a solid 7.95, just below an 8, like the closest you can get. I just didn't feel good, which sucks because it doesn't even suck. This is the thing, is even though I couldn't plan today, I didn't know how I was going to feel, it wasn't as hard as I wanted it to go, this is the best shitty day I've had in a long time. I hit heavy ass weights. I did really, really good when it comes to the technique and the drive, so I just got to take it off on the chin and take one step at a time. So I'll take it one way or another. Mentally, 8.2. Still a great day. Don't get me wrong, but I'm fucking tired. I'm fucking exhausted. Let me tell you. You're gonna be beaten some days. But the difference is that on the days, regardless of if you're beaten or you're peaked, you still show up and you put in that motherfucking work. Again, shorter video today, but just wanted to get it out. Thanks for hearing me out. I'll be back tomorrow for the prep day for the heavy snatch and clean and jerk day. So it'll be the new programming where it's going to be 5 singles each on snatch and clean and jerk at a specific percentage instead of a random top set for power snatch and power clean and jerk, just to get the CNS primed, the technique, the lockout, yada, yada, yada. Take a rest day so I can come back and do the heavy day of the week. We will continue to succeed and persevere. Damn it. Let me know how the lefts and lies have been going. I love hearing about it. And as always, I will be back tomorrow. As much passion as I can give you. I love you guys. I'll see you later.